Hello and welcome to the video. This is Hooves of Doom. This video is about the lore, etymology, and context of the Lord Castellant and other Castellans in Warhammer. Now, Lord Castellants are described as the guardians of gateways, the keeper of keys, the bearers of the warding luminous. Lord Castellants are the masters of defense of warfare and are often tasked with holding vital ground. Striding the battle line, a Lord Castellant is an indomitable force, a walking bulwark. His mere presence emboldens the fighting spirit of his battle brethren. When the powers of his warding lantern are unleashed, a mystical effect washes out with golden rays. Sigmarite plate glows as barriers of arcane protection enshroud it. Nearby Stormcast Eternals are heartened, while wounds and rents in body and armor alike are healed. Only the most uncompromising of mortal leaders are chosen to become Lord Castellants. Their natural tenacity is enhanced by their reforging, creating leaders as unyielding as Sigmarite. These masters of defense of warfare are charged with guarding the storm host's fortresses, although they are often called upon to anchor battle lines upon the field of war. In this case, the unit is called Lord Castellant, but there are numerous uses of the word Castellan, throughout Warhammer. And Castellan is a rank within the Black Templars, for instance, a chapter that kind of exudes the aesthetics of medieval Europe. Castellan is also an honorific title held by the Cadian commander Harkar Castellan Creed. It's kind of a Cadian title, and the Cadians are also known to be tenacious defenders. And there's kind of a Knight Castellan in the Imperial Knights, the Quaestorus Imperialis, and that's kind of likened to a towering fortress, a bastion of imperial might. And so none of these actually command a castle, and yet they still kind of exude the qualities that are associated with the responsibilities of a historical Castellan. We kind of derived the word castle from the Latin castra or castrum, or closer to the medieval period, castellum. Conventionally, it means camp, fort, fortress. If you read kind of the Latin works, you'll see words like odium, used to describe fortified hill forts. But although those do have military significance and armed soldiers guarding the walls, they have a civilian population and a civilian administration. So in contrast, the castrum is purely for kind of an armed body of soldiers. It's a pure military camp. And when the Roman army was marching, they would go to great lengths to build a castra wherever they stopped for a period of time. An enormous amount of effort and work, but it provided them with a massive defensive asset when they were their least prepared and at their most vulnerable, right? When they're camping out, staying overnight. And so they're always in this position where they're either just ready for battle or well protected behind these walls. And initially, these castrum were not permanent. They're largely made of wood, as they were, temporary. Over time, as the empire ceased to expand and the legions were kind of permanently assigned along the frontier, the walls were converted to stone. You see a lot more use of stone in the building of frontier walls like the Hadrian's Wall and others. And kind of naturally, civilians were attracted to the safety and businesses provided by this body of soldiers. So you'd have the castra, and then outside that, some more civilian structures and buildings would begin to be built, and you have this kind of little town outside. And at that point, you have something that kind of resembles a medieval castle, the kind of the same type of functioning. It's this hard point with often a civilian town surrounding it. So words like Chester and Castor are derived from castra. And so we know that towns like Winchester and Lancaster and many others throughout the UK kind of originated or began as Roman camps, these little civilian structures outside. I think, from the Romans believed that the word itself was derived from two words that mean castration and chastity, hinting at the fact that Roman soldiers were not allowed to be married. But that's probably not where the actual origin comes from. So, strictly speaking, a Castellan is the title used in medieval Europe for an appointed official, a governor of a castle and its surrounding territory. Now, that's literally what this means, but for our purposes, I think we can also simplify the definition as an individual responsible for holding a defensible position. Right? That's a little more metaphoric, but it's how much of the language in Warhammer operates, and it really kind of better reflects some of the uses in the lore, right? None of these people, even though the Lord Castellant is in charge often of a Stormcast Eternal keep, for the most part, often they're also on the battlefield, and they operate in the same way. They are kind of the linchpin of the defense. And so in that way, they almost operate kind of in this metaphoric sense of this defensive line. In Age of Sigmar, the Lord Castellant anchors the battle line, and the lore reflects the historical use of the term, as do the other references to Castellans throughout Warhammer. They all represent just this either armored force or stubbornness or something about being extremely defensible. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.